Welcome back, everyone. The story I'm about to tell you today happened or took place in Terhuna. Terhuna is located in Libya and it is located at the southern outskirts of Tripoli, in the Murkub neighborhood, of course. Now, there's a man named Amjad. Amjad was born in the 1980s and got married to a woman born in 2004. He was married and he lived, I would say, a good life with no problems. I mean, not yet. One day he chose to go to a trip with his pals. So he said or stated that maybe I will be late or maybe I'll stay a day or two if the weather is nice enough. He was not worried, I would say, to leave his wife because he had all his family members around him. So he went to this trip, and for some strange reason, he was not enjoying himself as much as he could have expected. So he decided to leave home earlier than he should have. When he returned home, he noticed that someone was in the house. And upon opening the door, he found a stranger in his house with his wife. He grabbed the man and he began beating him and punching him. And then he got hold onto his hands and grabbed his hands and asked his wife to get him or fetch him a rope. He asked her and said that I will get rid of this man and then we'll take care of you too. She left. She ran as fast as she could. This man, he realized that, or became aware that his wife had stabbed him in the back. The man began to bleed and the knife was entirely within his body. He then collapsed to the ground and that's it. She burst into tears and screamed. The stranger here, who was kind of happy that she saved his life, approached to her and of course she knew the stranger. It's a stranger who was a stranger for Amjad. So he told her not to worry and she could rely on him. He claimed that she had saved his life and he will not, under any circumstances, abandon her. He told that before he could figure out how to get rid of the body, she should get him some cleaning products. Means after getting rid of the body, they have to get rid of the other things, the stains and so on. So he requested her, asked her to wake up and calm down and just go grab some cleaning products from anyone's house she knew. She went to her neighbor's house, and her neighbor's house happened to be Amjad's father's residence. Of course, after knocking the door, she inquired, and the one who answered the door, of course, was Amjad's sister, and she inquired her that can I get some cleaning supplies? And she said, sure. She gave her. She returned home. She saw that the man had left. The man had abandoned her with a dead body. I don't know what else she could expect. Maybe she expected after murdering her own husband, a man who is nothing to her would help her. That's strange. After that, she grabbed the telephone and she dialed a number she knew previously out of, I would say, bewilderment. And of course, he was a man. She asked this man, she knew this man or was in a relationship before, and she asked this man if he could assist her because she was in desperate need of assistance. He didn't get it, of course, but she claimed that she was eager and needed help. So he didn't know what he was getting himself into, but he was like, of course, I'll help you. Then he asked her again, what help does she need? She said or stated that she needed his assistance in disposing the body. He was so surprised when he heard this that he slammed the phone down on her face. For example, believing that something cannot be true or he thought it would be a nightmare. Now, well, this didn't work. So she gave a call to her mother. And as they say, maybe they think that the mothers have the remedies to like almost everything, or maybe she thought that way. So the mother here, upon hearing that her daughter needs help because of what had happened, asked her not to call anyone. The mother here started calming her down and saying, stop, wait for me, stay there, don't call anyone, don't answer the door whatsoever. Simply stay where you are and I'm coming to rescue you. The mother here arrived and she said or asked her to relax. As I said, to calm down. The mother urged her to pull the body with her or assist her in removing the body, take it to the backyard. The backyard was a little location where they kept some of their belongings or sheep or other livestock. After putting the body in the center, she asked her daughter to bring her some hay or grass and after positioning the body in the center of the area, They covered it with hay or grass on top of the body and lit the body on fire. The body, or the grass I would say, started burning. Of course, the grass started burning first, or the hay. And when she made sure that everything was okay, she asked her daughter to go back home. And she said, I'm going back to my house. And if anyone comes, act as if you don't know anything. Act as if you don't know what's going on. So they decided what their roles were, or how they should act upon anyone arriving and finding out in case. So here we are as the odor spreads or starts spreading from the body towards the other spaces. As I said before, she was close to her family member's house, her husband's family member's house. So Amjad's mother was maybe doing some chore, and she said that I have a hunch that something is wrong. First and foremost, she began sniffing and remarked, there's a strange smell. She was just doing some work, and she started saying everyone, there is something wrong. She was the first one to experience this sensation, and she began strolling around the house to determine, of course, the source of the odor. She began by asking everyone in the house if she was the only one who could smell this. She went out of the house, returned, and after asking again, she went out again. And actually, this time she went behind the house. And there, she discovered that in the center area where the sheep and the other belongings were there, she found that something was burning, was on fire. She was the only one who sensed this out of all the neighbors and everyone in the house. And perhaps this was, I would say, a mother's instinct, which led to her venturing behind the house and discovering that someone or something was on fire. When she felt this or saw something on fire, she started screaming. And it could have been a sheep or an animal. She recognized that it was a living being, because I don't mean a plant, because an animal would smell like a barbecue, I would say, and that was how she described the smell. But of course, never in a million years she had guessed that this would be her son's body. When the police arrived, they discovered that it was a body, a human being, and they transported it to the forensic department. Now, the police called everyone from the family members and started an investigation, of course. They contacted their father, Amjad's father, his mother, his wife, and Amjad himself. But as they said, he was not there and went to a boat trip or something. So he was the only one who was left for interrogation. After 2 days, and that's how late he was, or maybe they were waiting for 2 days, but after 2 days, the forensic department's findings or their report revealed that the body was actually of Amjad himself. The body was Amjad's body. After this, the family discovered that it was Amjad himself who had been discovered as the deceased body. It was something they couldn't believe. Even at the funeral, it was a period of mourning, of course, and surprise both at the same time. Her own son's body was on fire, but the cops here kept investigating to find out who did this. And during Amjad's funeral, his sister remarked after that Amjad's wife was, during the investigation, she said that his wife was behaving strangely. They said, what do you mean? She said that during the funeral, instead of crying, she pretended, or she was nervous about something. It's possible that she was in shock or the state of shock. When someone enters a state of shock, they wouldn't cry. They would just sit there doing nothing. And that was what she was doing. But still, she said, didn't appear that way. It appeared as if a person was terrified of what was going to happen. She also stated that on the night they discovered the body, alternatively, in the middle of the night, Amjad's wife came asking for cleaning product. And the cops here asked why. Why would she leave her residence in the middle of the night to find cleaning products? Saying that maybe she wanted to get rid of something. That could include any stains or anything that could lead her to be guilty of something. Now, they summoned Amjad's wife and began questioning her. She disputed at first and refused to answer, but all the executions and charges leveled against her. They started checking her mobile phone, and they found out, or all the family members actually mobile phones, but upon taking the wife's phone, they discovered a call between her and a specific person. When they tried to figure out or find out who this person was, it was actually the number was registered on a foreign African man who used to work in Libya, but he had departed a long time ago. So the guy currently was unknown. They then discovered another number she had dialed, and they summoned the man. When they summoned the man, they inquired about his relationship with this particular woman or the case itself. He claimed that he had nothing to do. He did know this woman, but he admitted that he had answered the woman's call and she was asking for assistance. And the assistance was actually to dispose the body. He was taken aback and denied it, believing it to be a fraud, or maybe she was trying to trick him. So here it was clear, but first, before we go any further, when the cops came at the residence, they discovered that someone has scrubbed the floors and cleaned it. So horrible, its stench lingered. I would say this stench was strong, like overusing or washing something without even a break to get rid of something. If you use a bleach in a way of like scrubbing again and again all parts of and overuse it, of course there will be a smell which will be, it would be unpleasant, I would say. Upon asking her again, she admitted of being present when the husband was murdered, but she was not the one who to murder her husband. They said, if it wasn't you, who was it? She said that when her husband arrived, he tracked her down with a complete stranger. And it was this stranger who attacked her husband. And they got into a fight. But this, they tended to think about it, but it made no sense. The police here, or the investigator, he was trying to make sense out of it. But there was something missing or lacking in the story. The entire narrative was incorrect, because if the stranger got into the fight with her husband, upon fighting, how would he turn back and attack and stab him from behind? She was the one who had murdered the husband. She had confessed. And they asked her, where is the stranger who was there on the night of the murder with you? She stated that she knew the person because of the internet, possibly through a chat or something, but she didn't know anything about him because the name or whatever she knew didn't match anything. So he maybe kept a nickname or something, or he had changed his name to keep himself hidden. All the facts that could get him out of trouble. As I already stated, even the phone. He was not the first owner of the mobile. As a result, they lost the person who was involved, and whatever occurred the night before. They had heard that maybe he was discovered in Trablus, but it was as if he had vanished and he was nowhere to be found. By now, we would be thinking that everyone is involved and being answered and summoned and questioned. So what happened to the girl's mother? Now, she was also a suspect in the case because she was the one who assisted her daughter in disposing the body. But the real shock was that according to the forensic pathologist report, they knew that Amjad didn't die the instant his wife stabbed him. That indicates that he was still alive. And if he was alive, he could have screamed or something. But then they said that maybe he fainted or after he got stabbed or something else. So when carrying the body, the wife herself or the woman herself could have noticed that he was still breathing. And if they didn't, well, that's another story. But the disaster was that the mother was present. So who was supposed to be the true criminal was the mother itself. Because if Amjad was not dead when they had taken the body to the backyard and then he was burned alive, I would say, that would make the mother the real, criminal, or the one who has murdered the husband. Anyways, of course, they were sent to prison, maybe for life sentence or something. There's another story that took place in the same neighborhood of Terhona. I don't know, it happens. Crimes do take place. But there was another story which took place in the same place. And once again, there was a young girl who got married, or her family member they married her to an older person, or maybe of a significant age difference, I would say. And she truly wanted to marry someone else she knew. But because that specific person couldn't afford She got married, or the family members got her married to an older man who I would say was wealthy. And after she got married, she was still in contact with the person she liked before. And he told her that now that you're married and your husband is rich, why don't we get rid of your husband and then I can marry you easily? She said that, how's that possible? He said, it's easy. We could just put he and his friend could just put small quantity of drugs in his car and or a small amount, and that's it. We can just inform the police and the cops and they will arrest him, and that amount he would be considered a drug dealer and he will be imprisoned for more than 15 years, and that would make our life easier. Means you can go and take a divorce and we can get married and live happily ever after. That's it. So they devised this strategy, and this man and his pal, they were able to obtain a large quantity of narcotics, and I would say, and kept it in the car before reporting. And then, of course, and then they gave a call that we are giving this call to just assist for human assistance, I would say. And they arrested him. After he got arrested, it was strange because people began to arrive at the police station claiming that there was no way whatsoever that this particular individual could have been involved in such a crime. Means, if he got arrested as a drug dealer, family members would be the first people arriving at the police station and saying that we know our family member or our father or whatever, he couldn't have done such a thing. But it was not just the family members, the neighbors, the people he used to have business with, the people he knew from far and near arrived at the police station claiming that there was no way this person had done such a thing or can be involved in drugs. And the police had been mistaken. So the police here, they said that this is not possible. This is like lots of people, well-known people arriving and saying us. So let's search again. Found out that he had never been involved in such a thing or any particular, it means he was a law-abiding citizen. So once again, a very dumb error was made by two very, sorry to say, stupid men, and there's no crime that is complete, which means the man's vehicle was parked in an area that was surrounded by businesses, diamond and gold shops. These stores, of course, have cameras inside and out. And after analyzing the security cameras, they discovered or knew that the two men were the ones who had opened the car and stored stuff inside. And that was, of course, drugs. These men were arrested, and the case against them is still underway in the courtrooms. Together, these two stories I have told you today, they ended up the way they should have, and that is how dishonest began in their lives. It wasn't the major lies, but the little secrets as they view it. It made them regret having even considered such things. And that's unfortunate. Again, when they talk about a person's right to find someone who cares and loves them more than anyone else, they forget that the basic or foundation of their connection is not love, it's the respect. Respect comes first, or is in the commencement of any connection, whether it's a mother or a daughter or a husband or a wife, anything else. The beginning is respect rather than love, because when you respect someone, this is when you forget that there's room for everything else. We hope individuals might learn a lesson by simply listening and not blame the devil for leading them astray. That's it for today, and thank you for listening.